Welcome, everyone, to this evening's event. We have an exciting speaker for you. My name is James Howard. I'll be joined by my partner in crime, Jennifer. And I'd like to tell you who we're going to bring to you this evening. We're bringing to you Ms. Adrienne Smith. Adrienne is an entrepreneur and the founder of Gridiron Queendom. She is a media specialist, the face of women's football with a gold medal and championship rings. And she is the inventor of an award winning educational football game called Blitz Champz. And Adrienne is also part of a 14-person team of inventors that have been traveling the country in both virtual as well as on site panel discussions on DEI in the space of the toy and game industry for Black inventors. So we are delighted to have you today, Adrienne. And what I want to do now is turn the audience over to my good friend and partner in crime, Jennifer Demetrius. And Jennifer will actually be the main speaker tonight, forwarding the questions. And Jennifer, the mic's on you.
Thank you, James. I really appreciate that. And
Mhm.
just to introduce James properly, James is actually the executive director of the Black Inventors Hall of Fame. And we appreciate him identifying Adrienne as somebody that we can tap into. She is an amazing person. Um, James has highlighted some of the things that she's done, but she has a well-versed career in sports area and football. She's also a writer, an actress, a producer, and as James mentioned, that she's an inventor as well. So, Adrian, let's start from the beginning in terms of growing up. What influences did you have that has created this mindset that you have in terms of inventing things and being creative?
I think it came down to, first of all, I'm super excited to be here. Let me say that. Thank you so much, James, for inviting me. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm just ready to jump in. Let me just, time out, take a pause. And thank you for this wonderful organization, Black Excellence Alliance. I'm super excited to be here. Uh, Creativity. It was something that my parents encouraged, my mother especially, just instilling in me the belief that I could I could be whatever I wanted to be. I could do whatever I wanted to do. And my parents provided me with resources to do so. I loved Lincoln Logs. I loved building. I loved erector sets. I loved drawing. I loved writing. And I think that's where everything came from.
Excellent. So, the major um, the major thing that you've invented right now that's really excited, and we see it in the stores, is this game called Blitz Champ. And it's a board game where you incorporate football and math, and it really helps young students, elementary and middle school students, to learn, football and then also combine and hone their math skills. How did you come up with the idea to combine those two um, avenues or elements?
Well, first of all, I love Blitz Champs. Okay, it's always with me.
Yeah,
I broke out my Blitz Champ shirt for this, and it's actually
good
a
deal.
card game. Okay, it's a card game.
Okay.
So for me, I'm an inventor. I'm a businesswoman. I'm also an elite athlete. I'm a wide receiver for the Boston Renegades. You see this helmet here, and a wide receiver for the U.S. Women's National Tackle Football Team. So in 2010 and 2013, I had the honor of winning gold medals as a member of Team USA. And I played in Sweden and Finland, respectively. And it was a chance for me to see the powerful impact, the global impact that football had on women and girls. Up until this point,
Okay.
I thought it was me and my teammates here in the States. So in 2013, I founded Gridiron Queendom. And that's my company which advocates for women and girls around the world who play either tackle football or flag football. And after a couple of years running Gridiron Queendom, I thought, you know what? I need some type of product or service to help bring in some revenue, honestly, to keep this business going. And one
Right.
night, sure enough, for one night, I prayed to the Lord. I said, Lord, I need help. I need some idea. You know what I need? A game. I need a game, a football game. Let me get the football version of Bruno. Jennifer, I went to sleep
Ah,
and I woke up and boom, I had Blitz Champz in my head. I started writing, scribbling. I created the prototype December 2015. I tested it with some family members. It seemed to be a hit. So I took all of 2016 to really develop the game. I relied on some of my alums from Columbia Business School. I tested, I did my own research, and by the end of 2016, I had something pretty solid. And in 2017, I said, let me try to take it to the market.
Excellent. Now,
so
Jen, if I can
excellent.
just interject something on that and piggyback on what she just finished saying, just to show you how tight knit this invention community is. One of the things that she
Mhm.
also did was she sought out the inventor of Phase 10, my brother Ken Johnson, who was part of the big film. And
Right.
Ken was kind enough to mentor her, and that is how I came into the orbit of Adrienne Smith. He connected us, and then she came along and joined our tour, the Gathering Tour. So that's just how close knit this invention community is. But before we abandon what you just told us, I'd like to go to the front end of that and still put forth my main question I wanted to ask you. You've answered part of it, but I'm still going to state it. What was your inspiration to tackle professional football head on, right? Pardon the double entendre and pun,
And so,
right? With the intent of making such an impact.
Hmm.
and James, before she answers that question, I think we would like to honor her because most recently she has become the number one wide receiver
That's
for
right.
receiving yards
Get that applause in.
worldwide.
Get that
So
applause
so she is in the Jerry Rice category, okay,
in. Amen to
as a
that.
professional female football player.
There you go.
Well, thank
Adrian?
you. There's a lot to that. So, James, I'll get to your question, but Jennifer, to that point, yes, I've Jerry Rice is my football idol. One,
Yes.
two. I recently did break the WFA all-time receiving yards record, but I want everyone to know that to have accomplished that feat, it's because I've had teammates that have been outstanding. You don't get all
Mm-hmm.
those receiving yards by yourself. You have to have a quarterback who can get you the
Right.
ball, and you have to have an offensive line that can block like nobody's business so that that quarterback has the time to throw, and then also fellow receivers who are blocking for you so you can get those yards after the catch, so you can get those yaks. So it's a true team effort, and all of that was engineered by our offensive coordinator, Coach Vernon Crawford, who used to play for the New England Patriots. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot that goes
Oh.
into that. I want people to know
Mhm.
that even in with Blitz Champz or anything I've achieved in my business career, my athletic career, I might be on the front of that, page, but there is a whole team of people, literally and figuratively, behind me that have thrust me forward. But thank you for that honor. And James, to your point, what gave me the motivation? I get asked that a lot, and I just turn it back to why is my favorite color green? It just is. I was born this way, and I like green. Why am I playing football? I have loved football. My parents told me since the age of 3. I can't tell you why. It was just something when I saw it on television. I was enthralled. I had the passion, the excitement. I wanted to be a part of that. And thank goodness I live in an era where I could pursue that passion. I mean, if I had been born in the 20s or the 30s or heaven forbid the 1800s, I never would have been able to experience or cultivate this side of myself. So I feel blessed to have been born during the time that I'm living, which I'm living. And I never set out to break records or to do this or that. for me, it simply was I loved the game. I wanted to play. Playing in and of itself brought me this joy and this peace that I hadn't experienced otherwise.
But you had a deeper purpose to take it beyond just your own fulfillment. You wanted to open up doors for other young ladies. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. So I feel as if, the old adage, you were standing on the shoulders of giants, so of women who have come before us. So we're in the year 2022. This happens to be the 50th anniversary of Title IX. That legislation changed things for so many girls and women in the United States. And so I tip my hat off to Linda Jefferson, who is by far the most outstanding running back, male or female, in professional football history. To her teammates, the Toledo Troopers, to all of the women and the teams that competed in the National Women's Football League back in the 70s. They laid a foundation. Many of us to this day don't know about that, but they laid a foundation. And all of the women and girls up until the point who were playing, up until now, I'm on the stage. So having said that, I felt it was a privilege and an honor for me to give back, which is why I created Gridiron Queendom, which is why I've spent time and effort in pushing forward with Blitz Champz, because with the Blitz Champz card game, I'm able to. I wanted to recreate the passion, the excitement, and the strategy that goes into playing football. I wanted to put that in a medium that was more accessible to everyone. And so a card game does that. So you don't have to be, the best athlete running a 4.440. You can play with your grandparents. You can play in the classroom, on the bus, at the airport. It brings the fun and excitement of football home or in the school. So yeah, for me, Blitz Champz and Gridiron Queendom are an extension of the wonderful things I get to experience while playing football. I wanted others to have that same feeling as well.
Jen?
So, Adrian, you obviously have taken your passion and been able to create this business around it. One of the things, and I know that James is really pushing this from an inventive perspective, and there are a number of people out there with inventions that we never see. But how do you take it from the conception, the invention, it's great, and then get it to the business side? Now you've had a lot of team behind you, but that business aspect.
Mm,
Right, that's a great question. And I just want to say, first and foremost, discipline and perseverance. If you don't have either of those two, you just go get some ice cream and watch some TV. That's it. Just don't even try. Okay?
Watch Sunday,
But
Sunday Night Football.
there you go.
watch me play football. But if you have discipline, or you're working towards becoming more disciplined, and you can work towards pursuing perseverance, then listen to what I have to say. All right. So you've got your idea, you've got your concept, write it down. Get your rules in order, right? Understand what it is you're trying to accomplish with the game. What's the goal of the game? And who do you think wants to play the game? Is the game for new mothers, right? Is the game for kids ages 7 to 12? Figure out who the game is for. Then create a prototype. And, listen, I bootstrap all of my businesses. So, no, you don't have, it's easy for people to say, well, it takes money to make money. Well, if you don't have it, there's other ways, okay? Print something out, type it up, draw a picture, get a friend who can draw, find somebody, create a prototype, tape things together. My first version of Blitz Champz, I took index cards, cut them in half, and wrote what the card was supposed to be: interception, passing touchdown. And that's what my family played the first time around. The second iteration, I got real fancy. I used clip art from PowerPoint to find a picture of somebody scoring a touchdown, to find a picture of a field goal post. Then I cut those out, taped them onto index cards, and we played again. Finally, it looked like things were working. This is where you do your research. You reach out to people. I emailed Ken Johnson's website out of the blue. Emailed him. It was in June, I believe, of either June of 2020. Didn't hear anything. 6 months later, hit him up again, December 2021. He got back to me. I think it was December 2020. He got back to me March 2021. This is what I'm talking about with the perseverance. You cannot give up. Turns out that Mr. Johnson just opened his arms and was so welcoming to help me walk through those other steps. I will say this as well. Get his book. Mr. Johnson has written a phenomenal book that walks you through step by step how to take your game idea and bring it to fruition. So I reached out to people who had more experience. I started talking to them. I used that knowledge to help uh, hone my game. Then I bit the bullet. I put some money behind it. I did like an
Right.
initial run of 100 decks, saw what I could, gave it to some of my friends and family to continue to test. I then took it to people who didn't speak English to ensure that the game was still fun for non-English speakers. I tested the game with people who knew nothing about American football to make sure that the game, that Blitz Champz itself was just fun, period. That you did not have to be an American football fan or have knowledge of that. And it continued to be successful. So then I jumped in fully and I said, okay, I'm gonna order a big run. I found a good company that could produce the game, and I did a massive order of several thousand units. But the whole time, I'm working 3, 4, 5 jobs to get money to
Right.
invest into this product.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Absolutely amazing. Now, Adrienne, your story is full of many successes, right? And apparently a
Hmm.
lot of fulfillment. But I want you to tell the audience what your experience has been in your journey that has made you feel marginalized.
Great question. Marginalized, yes. So it really comes down to race and gender for me.
Mhm.
So, in a room where you are a minority, whether in terms of race or gender, or as a Black woman, often both, uh, these instances occur frequently.
Mm.
Certain people don't want to have you in the room, one, don't want you to speak, two, and then get really upset when you do speak and what you have to say is actually accurate.
Mhm.
So when that happens, you have to push forward. Again, perseverance. Know that it will happen. I think that's something as I start to mentor other people who are looking to start their own games or their own businesses, especially if they are people of color or women. I just say, get ready for it. Like when I'm on the football field, someone's going to try to tackle me. They don't always tackle me though. I have moves that I can make. But I don't go into a game thinking, "Oh, nothing's going to happen to me." In the same way with business, please don't go out there thinking that everyone's your friend and
Mm.
that people won't try to stop you just because of the amount of melanin your skin produces or just because you have ovaries. They will try to stop you simply for those reasons. And it's a matter of your setting your mind to not give up and to find other avenues and to find allies who can help you put you in the room and can help you propel your ideas forward.
Can I
Excellent.
just add on to that in terms of a question, just broadening it a little bit? Because you've spent a lot of time in various countries overseas. Japan, so you've spent time in Asia and you've spent time in Europe. Do you feel the same in terms of, what you just spoke to, in terms of, being a female or being African American in those settings as well? Is there any difference, in other words?
Question.
Great question, Jennifer. And I think, why am I forgetting her name? The black woman who had tons of success over in France, the early 1900s. Performer, singer.
Oh,
Can't think of her
Josephine
name.
Baker.
Josephine Baker. Yes, Josephine Baker. She proved your question before you even needed to answer. For ask me. The answer is the treatment is so much better everywhere else. In
Mm-hmm.
Japan, I lived Dr. King's dream. I was judged on the content of my character. They said, look at
Mm-hmm.
Adrienne. She's speaking Japanese. She's a person of integrity. She's doing her job to the fullest. We're not just going to put up barriers just because she's black. We're not going to try to marginalize her because she's female. She's doing an outstanding job. We're going to help her. That's how I got a television show. They were like, hey, if you're doing so well teaching Japanese students and adults about American culture just by visiting schools, sure, we'll put you on TV because you can reach more people. The same thing in Europe. It's different. I personally was treated better. I was looked at as someone with knowledge and potential, which unfortunately is not how I'm perceived here in the States. First, it's black person, female.
Mm-hmm.
Then, oh, well, let's see what she can do
Mm.
type of mentality.
So as you go on this journey, this mission, really to get more women and girls into professional sports, right? Which would be football as well as any other number of sports. How do you work with them? Because we hear so many stories in the news, right? In terms of how women are marginalized. I mean, we could take it as broad as the U.S. soccer team that does so well and they don't get paid, nearly as much as the men's soccer team who do very poorly. And then we could extend it to, let's say, um, the WNBA, professional women playing, not that many people in attendance. And then we could take it to the sport that you're attached to, football. Um, so, football where you want to increase the activity, increase the exposure, but a lot of that has to do with that mindset and that perseverance. And how do you get that through to particularly young girls? Because of the
I
battles that
think
they face. They're gonna play football, and it's like that's a man's sport. That's what's gonna come back to them.
you lead by example. And it sounds trite, and I feel as if this mantra has been stated a billion times in the past 2 years. Representation matters. The women of the U.S. women's soccer team, it's been decades. They have shown discipline, they have perseverance, and they play with excellence. It's those three ingredients that have yielded the result of now having pay equity in their sport. There's no short, fast way around this. We can't microwave the solution. I mean, we're dealing with like the NFL that's been around for 100 years and the NBA for 75 years. Those men's leagues have developed for almost a century, right? You cannot expect women to come on the scene and then we're going to have the same type of audience numbers and be able to have the same type of economics when we've been here. I believe the WNBA is around 25 years. It's going to take more time. And please again realize when I step on that field as a receiver, I know there are people on the other side of the line of scrimmage who want to prevent me from succeeding. In the same way, there are still people out there that do not want to see women playing sports at a
Mm.
professional level. I don't even want to delve into what holes are in their souls that make them think that way. We don't need to focus on that. Let's focus on what you said. How can we help little girls continue to go forward? Be the change you want to create. Live by example. I constantly get messages on social media thanking me for being an inspiration. Young girls, their parents especially, so thankful that they can tell little Susie, little Jada, hey, Adrienne's doing it, you can do it too. So to me, that makes me feel good. I feel re-energized. So the days where I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I can get to this practice, or oh my goodness, 10 more push-ups. What? I think about that, I think about the privilege of being able to be in my position and playing with a phenomenal team like the Boston Renegades where I can succeed and I can become a better wide receiver. I don't take that for granted. So the short answer, Jennifer, representation matters. We need to continue showing women playing whatever sport it may be at the highest level.
Hey, Adrian, let's talk about technology. You're playing women's football, and I'm going to direct it around the notion of DEI because, as I told you last week, I had the pleasure of meeting the three women who invented the sports bra at the recent National Inventors Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And they spoke to they have an unending goal of just making sure that DEI affords across the spectrum of all women innovation, right? So let's speak to technology. Do you feel that there has been enough addressed in terms of accommodating the needs of women athletes? Let's say the sports bra obviously has transformed the industry. But what other types of technological breakthroughs that you have seen, or some that you would like to perhaps see or disenfranchise with, that you feel are a hindrance?
Well, I think you asked me about a technological perspective,
Technological
but something.
products or fabrics or inventions or anything else
Right.
that you
Something
feel.
I want to bring up because I've just
Hmm.
been following this on Twitter is
Hmm.
the female tennis players at Wimbledon are finally speaking up about the mandate for wearing white and how that is
Mm.
every woman's nightmare when menstruating.
Yes.
So
Well, good for them.
I'm
Good
over
for them.
here. I'm so excited that they're
Hmm.
finally saying something about that.
Okay.
Because if a man has made that dress code rule, they're not ever going to think that every month women get and girls get nervous about wearing the color white. So it's little things like that where if women were at the table to participate in making decisions and
Hmm.
creating new things that we wouldn't have to worry about how do we prevent women from feeling left out, or how do we make them more inclusive? You make it more inclusive by including women in the decision making roles of any company, bringing their voices into the room. I'm happy to say that before our chat right now, I was brought into a room with a manufacturer geared towards the football space. I won't name names at the moment, but they realized, hey, all we have are men. This is a problem. How can we ever think we can really address the concerns and the desires of the female population, which is the larger portion of the planet? How can we address them if their voices aren't even in the room? So, to your point, James, in terms of technology, yeah, we need shoes that are specific to women, shoe sizes at the very least, clothing sizes. There are a lot of just basic things that would help women perform better and want to pursue certain sports at a higher rate if their voices were heard. I have another anecdote. One of my football teammates, who is a phenomenal athlete, multi sport and phenomenal in football, can play multiple positions. She told me that in high school, the PE teachers, the coaches there saw how phenomenal of a basketball player she was. They wanted her to try playing volleyball. And she tried out, but she was wearing her basketball shorts. They told her the only way you can play volleyball is if you wear those tight, like booty, almost panty shorts.
Hmm.
She said no, that's it. So her entire career. Now this is a woman who went on to play basketball in college on scholarship. Could have been playing volleyball, but because of the uniforms that girls, these aren't women in high school, you are a girl. Girls are required to wear because of that tight uniform bottom that she was required to wear. She walked away from the sport entirely.
Wow.
Wow. What do you think,
So
Jen?
so that the National Football, the Women's Football Association, do they have any national sponsors, um, like sneaker or footwear sponsors or clothing sponsors like Adidas, Nike, Under Armour? Are any of those promoting, supporting, or putting their name on the uniforms?
Yes, the WFA is very fortunate. So there are national sponsors such as Secret Deodorant, KT Tape, and Zenith. Yes. So there are brands out there that are willing to put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, and support women in football.
Now that's great, but from my perspective, we look at companies like Nike and Adidas and all of these other companies that talk specifically about DE and I. And here we have a league that is focused 100% on women, and they're not contributing to that. They don't have yourself as the number one wide receiver of all time. You should have your own sneaker deal. Let's get you to have the Adrienne Smith sneakers. That's what should be happening. I mean, the brands are great, and obviously that's important in terms of financial support. But hopefully, we can make further progress with these big name companies.
Right. So to that point, there are some brands who've stepped up. So Nike and the NFL have made a commitment of, I believe it's $5 million towards growing football for girls at the high school level. We also have Adidas and Riddell that have partnered with the WNFC, which is another women's tackle league. And I believe
Hmm.
Adidas has done a cleat specific for girls with a partnership with Sam Gordon. So there are some brands out there who started to make some alliances, and I believe this is just the beginning of where things can go. I know Zenith is looking to do big things for women in football as well.
Okay, great.
That is great. Well, I want the audience to know that Adrienne, in addition to inventing Blitz Champ, she also brought a brilliant idea to me about a month ago to produce a show, which we both partner on, called Wouldn't You Like to Know? In fact, I even had Adrienne on that show to prove the model, and she answered some great questions coming from kids all across the country. And we have also at our disposal over 80 questions that have been sent in. So, Adrian, what I want you to do right now is I want you to just pick a number between 1 and 40. All right. And we're going to play Wheel of Fortune here, and I will ask you the question that number stands on 1 through 40. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I have to go with 10. My Instagram handle, Twitter, I'm Adrienne the 10. That's my jersey number.
This,
So I choose
this is
number 10.
absolutely great. The audience will definitely want to know this answer. They will definitely
Okay.
want to know. It goes, did you ever think of giving up?
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness.
Go for it.
All the time.
Go
Yes. I
for it.
have thought about giving up on football, on helping people. I never thought about giving up on Blitz Champz, though. I do have to say that. I just knew that that was too perfect. So, but for other things in life, yes, it's just, especially when, James, you're working towards something that's good that could help a lot of people, and you what you get in return is drama and backbiting and just all kinds of negative repercussions. That was
Mhm.
one time in particular, especially it was in the football world, where I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm just going to let these people fend for themselves. I know I have certain talent and skill sets that can help an organization, but when I tried to help the organization, I was successful. Now it's coming back on me as being something nefarious. So I've thought about it, and this is where my faith comes in, where I pray on it, and I listen to God's word, and I'm redirected. And one of the scriptures that comes to mind immediately is, "And all thy works do unto God, not unto man." So if I'm trying to help my fellow man, my fellow woman, and through jealousies or whatever, that help is trying to be twisted into something else, I have to remember it's not what I'm trying to do for them. I know what God told me to do. So I'm just going to follow through with that. And that right there has kept me going and has kept me pursuing greater and greater things. And I know uh, I know God's anointing is on me, and that's it. I'm not trying to turn this into church, but that's the truth for me. So the times I have thought about giving up, I prayed on it, and I've been led to keep going. And then my best friend also, her famous saying to me is, "Don't give up." That's it. Just don't give up.
Amen. Jen?
Yes. I'd like to come back to education and specifically around the game because you do combine math skills with the concept of football, right? And what I'd like to know is, from your perspective and your opinion, do you think that the state that we're in today with children learning, that there should be more of an effort in curriculum to marry fun and education as opposed to just, you know, the traditional educational way of teaching?
That's a great question, and I think so. So I like to everything I do. I like it to involve edutainment, right? Education through
Hmm.
entertainment, and Blitz Champz was is the perfect vehicle for that. So it's a fun game to play. It's just entertaining, whether you're a child or an adult. But it happens to be that for children in grades 3 through 8, in order to play the game, you've got to use math skills, addition and subtraction. So the goal of Blitz Champs is to be the first person to score 21 or more points. And you've got your green cards that are what you use to score points. So, for instance, a passing touchdown card is worth 6 points. An extra point card is worth 1 point. A field goal card is worth 3 points. It matches up to the game of football. So
Right.
you're using your green
Right.
cards to score points, and then your opponents use red cards to remove points. Then you have yellow cards, which just keep the game in motion, kind of like skip player, reverse play, things of that nature. So, in playing the game, and again, I tested this in elementary and middle schools extensively, kids just want to win the game. They want to be the Blitz champ, right? So they're not realizing that, oh, okay, if I have a passing touchdown card, which is 6 points, and a field goal card, how many points is that? They're not realizing, oh, 6 plus 3 is 9. And the more they play the game, the more fluent they become in
Yes.
mental math skills. Or if
Hmm.
they have 12 points, say they have a passing touchdown card for 6 and a rushing touchdown card for 6, then an opponent plays a red blocking card, and it removes their rushing touchdown card. What's 12 minus 6? They get it. They start thinking about it. So the goal is to get to that 21 or more point threshold. And this is why principals and teachers kept coming back to me saying, the kids are playing this during recess. They don't know that they're actually practicing math. And that's the best thing to me. I tell people I learned this from my mom. If she just put a little cheese on my broccoli, really like one piece of string cheese, I thought, oh my goodness, treats. And I'm eating the whole plate of broccoli, right? Same thing.
Well, hey, Adrian, now that the entire audience knows the secret to getting their kids to eat the broccoli, I want you now to speak to the audience on this very important question. What can this audience do to serve as an advocate on issues of DEI for women in sports?
The audience can watch women play sports. If it's on television, watch it. If you got to run out to do whatever, record it on your DVR. If the local high school girls field hockey team has a game Saturday at 10 a.m., go buy a ticket and support the team. That's the difference. It's dollars matter. I remember at some point reading where Spike Lee said, if we want to see more black films, Black people have to go out the weekend that film premieres, because all of the projections that the studio makes is based off of that initial opening weekend. If we want more movies of a certain type, we've got to watch them right away. If we want to really support women and girls in sports, buy your WNBA tickets, buy your if there's a you have a women's hockey league hockey team in your area, go see that. Go see whatever girls or women's sports are playing. That's the best way, is to speak with your dollar.
Where can we see you, Adrian? I would like to see you playing for the Boston Renegades. Where can I see you? Where are the games shown?
So our season is similar to the NBA WNBA season. We're playing now. The NFL plays in the fall and winter, February,
Mhm.
if you make it that far. The women's season is from April through the summer. So I'm proud to say that the Boston Renegades, we just clinched a spot in the WFA championship, which will be held in Canton, Ohio, July 10th. And the big news is that the game will be broadcast live on ESPN2. This is the first
Yeah.
time in the history, the first time in the history of planet Earth where women's tackle football will be broadcast on ESPN. So, like I said, set your DVRs. ESPN2 at 2. Can't forget it. ESPN2 at 2 p.m.
I have that written down, and I'm definitely going to be promoting that.
Tell us that date, tell us that date again, Adrian.
July 10th.
So,
So my
July.
jersey number is 10. July 10. July 10th, come see number 10 on ESPN 2 at 2.
Sounds like a game plan. No pun intended. I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, we're coming up on a point here now where we might want to ask the audience to throw in a question or two for Adrian, question wise, and you can enter that through the chat. And while we're waiting for one or two of those to come in, Jen, you want to share with the audience our induction ceremony, a nice PSA regarding the
abs-
induction ceremony in October?
absolutely. The Black Excellence Alliance, in partnership with four Hall of Fames: the Black Inventors Hall of Fame, the Black Executives Hall of Fame, the Black Educators Hall of Fame, and the Black Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame. We will be hosting our second induction ceremony this year, October 28th and October 29th, here in Atlanta, and it will be live streamed if you cannot attend in person. But we would like you to put those dates on your calendar. Actually, the induction ceremony itself will be held Saturday, October 29th. But we're looking forward to seeing people there. We're looking for people to be viewing us. We had a great and successful inaugural ceremony last year in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that was centered around the same weekend of the 100th anniversary of the race riots in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And it was an amazing success. And we're bringing it this year to Atlanta, Georgia. So please put that date on your calendar and we will keep you updated over the summer.
Excellent.
Uh,
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
while the questions are coming in, I don't see anything right now, but I did want to ask Adrian, because you play both flag football and tackle football, what I know what the difference is. The audience may not know what the difference is, so you may want to give a brief explanation. But how do women and girls choose which one they would like to play? Is it
Right. So
based on
tackle
skill,
football
or is it
is
just based like? Mhm.
it's based on preference.
Right. Mhm.
Tackle football, you're wearing the helmets, the pads, what you see in the NFL. Flag football, instead of physically wrapping someone up to tackle them, they are wearing a belt that has strips of cloth, so flags attached to it, and you pull the flag, which is considered a tackle. That prevents that offensive player from continuing to advance the ball. And in terms of which you want to play, it depends on whichever one you want to play. I particularly like to play both. I think in terms of the future, what's great is we're going to be having a bona fide pipeline for girls in flag football.
Mhm.
NFL flag is really growing, and they're making a concerted effort to ensure that girls are included at the elementary, middle, and high school level. We also have the NAIA, which is comparable to NCAA, but it's a collegiate conference wherein girls can now get scholarships to play flag football in college, which is tremendous. And going forward, if we look down into the future, in 2028, flag football will likely become an Olympic sport at the LA Olympics. So
Oh,
there's a bright future ahead for flag football and for getting girls and women involved. And then those skills that they're developing on the flag side can be translated into playing tackle football as well.
Um, that is
perfect.
absolutely great. So encouraging. My grandson plays Pee Wee football right now, and I am delighted. And every time they go to practice, five or six of the little girls who are the daughters of the coaches and all, they are allowed to practice with them, each weekend. And it's great. It's absolutely great. Adrian, we do have a question that has come in from RNVIPS. And RN asks, how did you handle the patent phase? And did you have to get a lawyer involved? And then lastly, did you do a patent app?
Okay, great question.
Mhm.
So for generally, for a card game, there is nothing technical within the card game that could be patented. Unlike a board game where you could have a spinner or some type of physical contraption that would have a mechanical structure to it that you would patent. So, for a card game, you go along the lines of trademarking the name of the game. You also copyright the rules of the game, and then your biggest point that can be defended in a court of law is setting up a website and starting to generate sales with that game. So I've done that with Blitz Champz, and you do have to get a lawyer involved. So remember when I said I'm working like 4, 5, 6 different jobs trying to get money to come in so that I can afford to protect my intellectual property, that's something you cannot skimp on. You need to get a good lawyer who can ensure that all of your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. Great question.
Excellent. Now, I want to let you know that on July 12th, I will be sitting in a panel discussion with the Undersecretary of the United States Patent and Trade Office in Detroit. Okay? If I can put forth a question to her on your behalf regarding intellectual property and protecting it, what question would that be?
Uh, I don't even think I have one because it's again Ken Johnson's book took care of everything for me. I don't have a question for the undersecretary.
Excellent. Well, I will certainly advocate on your behalf because one of the issues and what I'll be bringing to the table as a representative of the people of color in an invention space are concerns that we do have for protecting our intellectual property, for gaining patents, and so forth and so forth. So I'll certainly be sure to, if I get a chance to, to share some concerns. And if you come up with anything prior to July 12th, please let me know. My colleague, Robert Bennett, has asked that we mention, Jen, and you can speak to this, the Workforce Development Symposium event on Friday, October 28th. That's going to be on the same date as our induction ceremony, right?
Right. So thank you
Oh,
for asking that, Robert.
mm,
The symposium, the Workforce Development Symposium, will take place on Friday, October 28th. It's an all-day event, and we'll have a number of major corporations represented. They are going to be talking specifically about their needs. They will be talking to individuals there about job opportunities, um, what they're looking for. We're going to make sure that they do, when they're representing the jobs that they have, that they're real jobs, so that people who are in attendance can apply for those jobs on site. I can't name the companies that will be there right now, just because we want to make sure that we finalize them. But these will be major corporations in telecommunications, software development, um, data centers, a number of very high level, or I should say, industries that are in deep need now of resources, and we're going to be providing that to them on that day.
We appreciate that. Adrian, is there anything else that you'd like the audience to know about just the whole expanse of being a creative, entrepreneurial individual like yourself? How do you navigate that? And how do you stay on track and not get derailed, not get, well, for whatever, for the lack of a better word, intimidated by, such a large reach? How do you manage it day to day?
Great question. I
Mhm.
I have a spreadsheet that I
Mhm.
use. I've been using it probably for 5 years now.
Mhm.
And the spreadsheet is Sunday through Saturday, and every day it's in 30-minute increments. And so what I'll do is for my different projects, I assign a color for the project, whether I'm working on Gridiron Queendom, Blitz Champz, Harlem hip hop tours, or TV and film projects, or working out. And I track my time. Time is your most valuable asset. And if you're able to track your time, it allows you to carve out sections so that you can dedicate the appropriate amount of time towards achieving whatever your goal is. So the thing I'm big on is telling people, manage your time. Don't just sit here on social media for, an hour can go by where you're just scrolling through. Use that hour to read a book about how to um, file for an LLC or research on a patent. It can all be done. And I do book, if people are like, do you even sleep? I'm like, yes, I do. 8 hours. Sleep is imperative, both from the business side. I've got to keep my mind fresh. And then physically, I have to keep my body in tip top shape if I want to keep scoring touchdowns. So just plan out your time.
And out your time. Well, that is absolutely great. And we're coming up on our end time, but I'm going to let Jen. I can see Jen has a question for you. She's anxious to put forth. So go ahead, Jen.
Well, actually, it's you're an international star, okay, an international sports figure, and yes, you are. And I saw a picture, and I know that this person was honored to be in the picture, and that person is Barack Obama. So I was curious to know uh, that picture with you and Barack Obama. What was that? What was that situation? How did that come up? I just loved it. So I just wanted to hear the backstory about that.
Okay, yes, that's funny. I'm not an international star, and I had the honor of meeting President Obama and the lovely First Lady Michelle Obama. It was amazing. So, how did that snapshot happen? Like everything else I've achieved in my life, it was a multi-year process, right? Where that I did not set out upon. Okay, so in 2010, that was the year that the U.S. Women's National Tackle Football Team, we won our first gold medal. Okay, 2010. I'm thinking, great, we come back to the United States, everyone's going to be happy. We represented our country flawlessly. Crickets, Jennifer. No interest,
Wow.
no media coverage, nothing. It was as if it never happened. So I
Mm.
said, no, right? If the men can win some domestic league title and they get a White House invite, why aren't we being invited for winning an international competition, the first one
Mm.
ever?
That's right.
So
Mm.
I reached out to two of my really good friends from college who had working in the U.S. government at that time. One was at the Department of Justice, the other one was in Foreign Service. And I said, ladies, listen, just got back from Sweden. I got a ring, got a gold medal. How do I get my team on a White House visit? They gave me some names. I started emailing. Jennifer James, I kept emailing all through 2010. all through 2011, kept emailing. All through 2012, kept emailing. 2013 comes, kept emailing, made the team again, went to Finland this time, won another gold medal and ring, still nothing. Kept
Crickets.
emailing.
Wow.
So finally around July 2013, I get some type of response. The White House Council on Women and Girls said, "Oh, this is wonderful. We would love to have some of the representatives from the 2013 U.S. Women's National Tackle Football Team come to the White House." So we met with some of the representatives from the White House Council on Women and Girls. I had some connections now. Now it's 2014. I actually get approached by a member of the administration saying, "Hi, Adrienne Smith, would you like to be a representative of women's tackle football for the annual Easter egg roll?" I'm like, "What?" Yes. Because as a little girl, my father took me to that. So it came full circle for me.
Oh, wow.
So I'm there. I'm helping out with the, I forget the activity, part of the combine that I was doing with the little kids. And then all of a sudden, my contact, she says, "Okay, Adrienne, now we need to go inside the White House for something." I'm just like, okay, didn't know what I was doing, but playing my part. Next thing I know, I'm taking a picture with the Obamas.
Ah, ah, ah. That's a great
But that
story.
was that was
That's a
4 years in the
4
making.
years.
yeah,
And I never set out to do that. I only wanted to
yes,
help my team get the
yes.
recognition they deserved.
And that was the
And how that,
personification of perseverance for sure, without a
right.
doubt.
I
Yeah,
was
go
going
ahead.
to say, and how that came to be. I mean, you writing all those email and sending out letters, and it didn't get a response.
Yeah,
And like James said, I mean, you have dropped a lot of nuggets on us tonight, and we really do appreciate that. But the one word that stands out to me, and one word when I hear your name, I will always remember is perseverance. And I think
amen.
it's demonstrated in everything that you do.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank
So,
you.
on behalf of the Black Excellence Alliance, on behalf of our Hall of Fames, including and led by the Black Inventors Hall of Fame, I'm extending my appreciation for your time, the information that you shared with us. We are much more knowledgeable now about the Women's Football Association, women's professional sports, how it's growing, your impact, and we are here to support you. So if there's anything that we could do in addition, please reach out to us and we will do whatever we can and whatever's in our power. And James, if you'd like to close it out. I do have one question though, because you both of you have mentioned the book by Ken Johnson. If you could let us know the title of that book so that our audience could go ahead
Right.
and purchase that if they would like to.
Right. So the name of the book is The Simple Plan. 6 easy steps to make millions from your ideas. So The Simple Plan, you can get it at Amazon. It's really phenomenal because again, I had done personal research from like 2016, 17, several years, and then to come across Mr. Johnson's book where it encapsulated everything that I had learned and then added so much more onto it. Absolutely phenomenal.
Excellent. Thank you,
Excellent.
Adrian. Well, Adrian, my fellow inventor and colleague, measure for measure, it could not have been a better pleasure than to spend this last hour with you. And we truly appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank you,
having me.
Adrian.
I
And
appreciate it.
I
Thank
look
you.
forward to meeting you in person one day. And I will be watching July 10th, 2 o'clock on
Well, be there.
ESPN2.
Let's do it. Thank
Thank you,
you.
audience, for attending. Good night.
Take care.